Hello there.
Oh boy.
There you are.
Good.
Thanks for doing this.
You bet.
All right. Well, I guess we can get right into it. So, are there different AI patterns for all the different ghosts, like Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde?
Yeah, every one of them has their own individual personality. Everyone has what we call their own laws of movement. But what was kind of neat was, as I guess you know, I've traveled the world. I've been to Japan. I've been to the Tokyo Game Show. I've been on stage. I've been in the headquarters. I've been around the father of Pac-Man. I've been around the creator of Pac-Man and their inner circles. So I've been able to ask a lot of questions and get a lot of stories. When the game was first made, Professor Tori Ayatwani, we'll just call him the professor,
Sure.
he had a little internal battle with the upper management because they felt that each adversary should simply have the same personalities. And he fought that logic, and he was able to win that, that argument. And that's why they have individual personalities. You might say, if he didn't win that argument, you'd be facing, even though they'd be different colors, you'd be facing 4 red guys or 4 pink guys or whatever the case is. So it's kind of neat that there was an internal struggle that got their personalities to where they are today.
Yeah, that's cool. So basically, a follow-up to that would be, did the developers that you were just describing, did they anticipate players memorizing their patterns? Or was that something that they thought about when they made the game?
Well, the professor told me directly, or he told a crowd in front of me.
Yeah.
We were both on stage talking, is that he had never envisioned anybody getting higher than 60 to 80,000 points.
Oh, wow.
With that in mind, he could not have possibly thought that a select group of people would begin to not only master the patterns of the game,
Right.
but then a very, very small select group of us to be able to control them completely at will.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's amazing that you guys figured that out at a young age too.
Yeah, it was fun being on stage with him because people asked him a lot of questions, obviously. And when they asked him a question like that about gameplay,
Yeah.
he used to shrug his shoulders. He'd go, "Oh, I don't know. You'd have to ask Billy."
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And that was a lot of fun. It was. He, again, in the words of him and the other people in that upper inner circle, they design things, they program things,
Mhm.
they run program. They don't know how it falls together. That's why there's so much testing, is to work out the kinks that would come with it.
Yeah. And that was the same a lot of the early retro games back in the 80s. Yeah. So when you were young, you obviously, there's no internet, there was nothing to figure out patterns back in the day, or to look online. How did you end up figuring it out by yourself? I mean, was it just a matter of practicing?
It was a ridiculous amount of practicing. It was a ridiculous amount of stubbornness. Myself, I had one guy with me. You'll hear people, there's people that come to mind. I don't need to give their names, but
Sure.
they'll say, "Oh man, I knew Billy back in the day. Oh man, yeah, man, I was part of that inner circle." Back then, the inner circle was 2 guys, me and Chris Ira, and no one else. And when he
Mhm.
played and I watched, or when I played and he watched, yes, we learned a lot. Uh, you learn a lot from your mistakes. You learn a lot from the others' mistakes.
Mhm.
And we did completely share our knowledge. Without a doubt, both of us are as good as we are today, as a credit to the other. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Does he still play today? I haven't heard a lot about his playing of games.
He says he's going to begin playing. He says he's going to
Oh.
put up scores. He's been saying that for about 15 years.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm sure he'll come up.
Yeah, he was busy. He was at work. Now he's retired. Well, he was raising his kids. Now his kids are grown. His kids are married. His kids have some have kids.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's driving the grandkids. I mean, like, it never stops.
He's never a time. I know that feeling. All right, so let's talk about obviously the kill screen. Obviously, everyone pretty much knows about it, but for those who don't, like, what causes the level 256 split screen glitch at the end?
Well, I'll tell you what we were told in the beginning, which turns out to be not quite technically true, is they said take a big circle and start at number 1 and go all the way around, slowly counting until you come almost back to the beginning, and then you're at the beginning and you've counted 256. You're what they call the zero board, a Z80 processor and a zero board. And what we're told at the time was there's literally enough memory for the left half of the screen, but not the right. And that argument makes sense, and it really helps explain things. It's just that we've learned over the years that that's not exactly true, that there truly is a bug within the game. The game truly does trip within itself. I mean, I would lie to you if I told you I knew the actual technical terms, but we learned as far back as 1983 that there simply were not enough dots on the other side of the board.
Oh, right.
And it was eating that 244th dot that would trigger the game to advance. And there's not 244 dots. So we knew back then that nobody was ever going to get past that board. And every time people claimed to have gone past the board, we used to just chuckle, because if they were smart enough, they would know they couldn't.
Right.
They didn't have all the knowledge, but they had a little bit of knowledge. And we always say a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. When you're an idiot and you know you're an idiot, you don't have any danger.
Sure.
When you know everything there is to know, well, then you won't trip on yourself because you know better. When you're in the middle, that's when you're foolish.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's go to let's just talk about a little about the game itself. When did you first realize that Pac-Man was going to be a cultural phenomenon back in the day?
Well, it was kind of cool to see it at the arcade, but the truth is, so there was Space Invaders at the arcade. So there was Asteroid at the arcade. Oh, well, there was Frogger at the arcade.
Yeah.
Pac-Man was at the arcade, but Pac-Man was also on TV. Pac-Man was also on your cereal box.
Yeah.
Pac-Man was in the stores. Pac-Man was talked about. I remember the first time I saw it, like, really having stepped into society. Being young and dumb, I was watching TV, and I was watching the TV show Taxi.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a Pac-Man machine on there, and it was so addictive, and it was sucking everybody's money away. And I looked at it funny, like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. But again, Pac-Man just popped up everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Pac-Man was, for many people, maybe myself included, it was your first introduction, very friendly introduction, to something that was new and intimidating called a computer. Computers weren't so friendly. They weren't easy to deal with. They weren't as easily learnable as they are today. So when you played a computer, when you had fun with a computer, you became more comfortable with it. And that was an introduction into a larger world. And I think Pac-Man was that for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Me as well. Wasn't as high a level of your play as you are, but I definitely had fun doing it. And I remember going to home consoles and then going to different computer games online to play at home was kind of really cool.
Well, see, you know me well enough.
Yeah.
That we absolutely couldn't argue with the statement that my learning ability, my skill, my knowledge, my success on Pac-Man is far above yours.
Yes.
However, we talked about a computer. Your
Mhm.
skill, your knowledge, your success at a computer is far above mine.
True.
So,
There's different
so
ways.
yeah, so we each share a little bit of victory there.
Yeah, true. That is true. That's where I am in my career is because of computers. It's crazy.
Right.
Um, were you surprised back in the day of the competitive scene? Obviously, you were part of Twin Galaxies, but like just the competitive nature of being in an arcade and playing against someone.
Yeah. Video games um, were most defined by a game like Pac-Man. Again,
Hmm.
there were others, but we're here to talk about Pac-Man.
Right.
And arcades were, as you stated earlier, just a part of a cultural phenomenon. Um, Video games were awesome, but it was the arcades that made the world. Um, it was like people who enjoy music
Hmm.
than people who go to a concert. Just a concert is far and away a greater experience in the world of music.
Hmm.
Well, it was like that, and everybody wanted to be at the arcade. Every video game nut, just like every music nut, wants to be at the concert. Um, and everybody wanted to play. Everybody wanted to be the best. And if you were doing something, or somebody else was doing something, and it was remarkable to what you had not been able to do yet or not seen yet,
Hmm.
the person doing it was the absolute focus of attention. And in the world of Twin Galaxies, it simply was higher and higher and higher on a greater level. It was like, you go from watching football in the youth league into the
Hmm.
high school, into the college, into the NFL. You
Hmm.
know, it it's a greater and greater and greater level of skill.
Hmm.
And um, you could say that less than 1% of football players ever make it to a level where they're so elite, like in the NFL. Well,
Hmm.
certainly far less than 1% of video game players did the same. And in some ways, it was intimidating because I remember the first time I walked into Life magazine and I kind of looked around. And in my head, I said to myself, wow, do I belong here? This is a tough crowd.
Hmm.
Some guys soared and some guys didn't. So, yeah, it
Wow.
was actually, I actually can't think of back in the day. I can't think of anything that was unfriendly. I can certainly tell you about stuff now.
I'll be honest though, the retro video game community for the most part are great people, and that's why I love being a part of it. I mean, you're gonna have your few people out there that aren't very nice and stuff, but all my friends in the video game arcades like retro scene are just amazing, and I'm proud to be a part of it. All right, let's go. This is kind of why we're talking. This book we're doing for Ryan is about the tips and tricks of retro video games. What are some tips that maybe some people don't know in Pac-Man uh, that gave you your success, or any tips that help the future player of Pac-Man?
Okay. Don't run into anything that's not blue.
Okay, that's
Uh,
easy.
to go a little further,
Yeah.
um, very minor stuff, but most people realize that the tunnels are an escape point.
Mm.
They are.
Hmm.
But what most people don't realize is the two alleyways directly above the box, the two S channels,
Hmm.
those also escape channels. You go up those channels, nobody can follow you.
Hmm.
Um, at the
Okay.
very, not at the very bottom, but at the lower part of the screen where the screen begins, where the Pac-Man is,
Yep.
immediately to your left and right, you have two upper channels.
Yep.
Both of those are escape points too. Um, nobody, nobody can follow you up there either.
Every level, right?
Level, correct.
Oh, oh wow. Okay. And then there's a
So,
spot. Okay, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, you can utilize every one of those in different ways um, as hiding spots. There's one obvious hiding spot that everyone seems to know, but there's actually, geez, there's probably a dozen hiding spots if you know how to use them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I knew the one that you usually typically use, but yeah, I didn't know there's more than that. Oh, okay.
Right.
What about like the fruit? Is there any tips or tricks about the fruit, how they come out, when they come out?
No, on Pac-Man, they absolutely come out um, in a set pattern as far as which fruit is coming out. Now, Miss Pac-Man has a level of randomness. However, the fruit, the first one, actually pops out when you eat the 74th dot.
Oh, good to know.
So when you start the board, no matter how long the board is going, if you haven't eaten many dots, there's no fruit that comes out. Now, the second fruit is triggered when you have 70 dots left, and that'll trigger the second fruit. So you can actually control when the fruit comes out, both the first and second. You can control it, and that's one way, again, that you gain control of the machine. You gain control of the ghosts. You also gain control of the fruit. If you gain control of it,
Mm-hmm.
you can make sure that you're in a convenient position when it does pop out to make sure you get it.
Hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. Um, what about so there's certain levels or there's a certain time of the game where the power pellets don't work anymore. They don't turn blue anymore. And what's the secret of getting through those levels, or is there just a pattern basically on that as well? Because once you hit the power pellet, right, they reverse, they go the opposite direction, right?
Correct. Well, um, as you know, the game, like after the second board, there's an intermission.
Yeah.
Then after the fifth board, there's an intermission. There's a total of 4 intermissions. Well, when you play, the amount of blue time that the adversaries stay blue gets shorter and shorter.
Correct.
Each time there's an intermission, that time expands back. Not as far as it was, but it gives you a little more time. But it just continues to close in on itself.
Mm-hmm.
And at the last intermission, okay, one last time, they turn blue for exactly 1001. That's it. Okay, that's board 16.
Wow.
After that, no more blue guys. All the
rest
way,
of wow.
yeah, because they all the way to 256. But I say that it makes it sound like they turn blue on 256. No, they never do. So I think I said it wrong. All the way up 12 fruits, or what we call fruits, 4 keys, there is some level of blue.
Okay.
The 5th key, there's no blue. Then the 6th key, there's 1001. One more time. And then 7th key, all the way to 256, and including 256, no blue.
No blue.
But one of the tricks is that people don't realize, and it came as a shock when it happened to us. We thought, wow, we're just going to play all the way to the end. On board 21, you actually slow down from the speed you've been playing since board 5. You slow down and they don't. If they get behind you, they absolutely got you.
That was actually one of my questions, is what level the Pac-Man slows down. Okay.
Yeah. So the Pac-Man is what we call cherry speed. That's the cherry board, first board. The Pac-Man, both the Pac-Man and the Ghost go cherry speed. The second board, strawberry, they go what we all call strawberry speed. And that lasts 3 boards until you're at apple. Then at the apple, now you're going apple speed, which is the maximum speed. You both go all the way to board 21. But at board 21, they continue at apple speed and you slow back down to strawberry speed. That's why you hear all the terms, oh man, he's on 9th key.
Right.
9th key is where you have your greatest disadvantage.
Okay. Let's see. what about, no, this is for a different Pac-Man. Let's see. What other tips can you think of while I search here? But isn't
Well,
there
the other thing is that when you have 10 dots left on the first board,
right?
the Pac-Man, the red guy will begin to speed up. He'll go faster than the other three.
Oh,
He'll go
okay.
faster to catch you. Well, as the board goes on, the next board, the next board, the next board, all the way up to and including um, all the way up to ninth key, you'll have as many as 120 dots left on the screen, and the red
Right.
guy is pretty sped up. So, and that's as difficult as it gets.
Hmm.
So, one factor would be is if you're trying to get all four blue guys, if you're trying to get all four together to eat them when they're blue,
Hmm.
you make sure you have enough dots on the board that the red guy does not speed up and therefore move independently of the other three.
Hmm. Wow, I did not know that actually. All right, lost my questions. Where'd they go? Oh, here they go. All right, let's see. There's only a few more left here. That question we already know because you're the person that got the first pack for Perfect Pac-Man. It just asks like how did that person feel when you got the first Perfect Pac-Man? So I guess I could ask you that.
Well, at the time when I got it, it was an exhausting experience. And I did what I really thought um, from a guy who was like kind of a childhood hero. I thought, I'll tell you about the childhood hero in a second. But I finished, I achieved that which was perfect. There was nothing more to achieve. There was nothing that would make an experience greater. So I never had to play that damn thing again. And I really said to myself, I never have to play that damn thing again.
Yeah.
And what that is that's pretty close. In 1980, the United States Olympic team, Miracle on
Yep.
Ice,
Yep.
team captain said, having played, won, experienced what he had, it was the greatest experience he could have had. And he had no intention of ever playing competitive hockey again because he had achieved
The highest. Yeah.
the greatest success he could have.
Yeah.
Well, that was in my mind at the time. And I always remember 1980 and I was a teenager. I always remember him saying that. And I always thought, man, that's so cool that you do something and you do it so well, you never have to do it again. And
Mhm.
that mostly held true. But then,
Yeah.
there's an anniversary. Oh, come on and play.
Right.
Um, well, you play and you have fun, but then it gets really serious. And the first time it got ridiculously, stupidly serious that no, I got to do this again was I met with Bob Lawton, the owner, founder, originator of Fun Spot.
Oh yeah.
And I was just there meeting with him like 2 months prior to the 20th anniversary. So it was 2019.
Yep.
And I said to him, I said, Bob, what would you think if I came back on the 4th of July weekend and I said I did it again? And he did that thing that older people do. He's got his glasses and he looks down and he glasses. He
Yeah.
says, Billy, you think you can just walk in here and do a perfect score, do you? And I says to him, I go, yeah, who do you think you're talking to? And he laughed and he goes, well, you're welcomed here anytime. And so that's when I went there and I did it again.
And
I
you did
mean,
again.
I won't lie to you, I was 10 times more, 20 times better in 1999, in 2019 than
Right.
I ever was in 1999. 1999, I mean, I hadn't I hadn't played since the 80s. And I mean, I literally like an old beat up car. I mean, I just rattled my way through, but
Hmm.
I achieved it. But I mean, I can do it almost on demand now.
Right. Right.
So, and
Yeah. I
I,
mean,
then I said, and then after I did it and I met with them and I spent the day with them the day
yeah.
after, I said to him, remember he was he 89 at the time? I said to him, I go, Bob, I go, how about if I come back in another 20 years? And I said, I'll do it again. And he gave me that look and he says, Billy, I won't be here.
Someone will be there though.
Yeah.
I remember when you went to Galloping Ghost and then even like level 257 to do it. You were there a few times,
Yeah.
and that was cool to watch you live to do that.
Yes. It's funny. Speaking of that, 2 days ago,
Mhm.
uh, was Bob Lawton's birthday. He would be 95 if he was with us.
Oh boy, wow.
Again, I always say that people say that joy and laughter, adds years to your life. And if that's true, a lot of people are going to live a long life because of Bob Lawton. And that's great. It really
That
is.
that is. And that is one place I haven't been to and I need to go to is Fun Spot. I gotta get there. We'll have to have a plan with Walter or something, get over there.
Well, from where you are, just head east and you'll get there.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, Bill, I think that's good. I think we're at a half hour. I think that's plenty of info for this book that Ryan's doing. I appreciate your time. He plans to get this thing out pretty quick. He's planning to